let us welcome in the dream catcher himself, Gegard Mousasi. Gegard, are you there?
I'm good, Ariel. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's great to talk to you.
I'm excited. Yeah, you too, always.
Okay, so the floor is yours, my friend. There are some reports out there that you have made a decision, but we want to hear from you. Have you signed with a promoter? Are you no longer a free agent? And if so, tell us the details. Where will you be fighting next?
Well, I've signed a 6-fight deal with Bellator, and I'm looking forward to be champion there. And if I achieve that, I'm looking forward to go division up and get the 205 belt. But, first thing first, first the middleweight belt. That's my goal.
So you have signed a new 6-fight contract with Bellator, coming off the 5-fight win streak with the UFC. How close did you get to signing with the UFC? I'd heard that there were some discussions. There was an offer. You met at the retreat. You were at the retreat. You did PR for them overseas. How close were you to signing with the UFC?
Well, I went to the retreat just because I wanted to have the meeting with Dana White and the UFC lawyers. It wasn't my thing to go to the retreat. Other than that, yeah, we were close. We negotiated until up to the end. And, I think the best choice for me was to go to Bellator at the end.
Did you not like the offer that they gave you?
Well, eventually at the end, they went up with the offers. I think they would have gone even more up, but I think they decided not to compete at the end because they knew, at the end, they knew I was going almost. So I think that's why that was the reason. At the end, they had a feeling that I would go to Bellator.
When you fought Chris Weidman in Buffalo, and that fight was over and you were talking to the press, obviously you didn't know where you would fight next. But in your heart, did you know that that was it for you in the UFC? Were you done fighting for the UFC at that point?
No, I think, I'm so close to the belt. I think I'm closest as I could be to the belt, to fight for the belt. I worked before with Scott Coker, so I have no problems going to Bellator. I know how I'm going to get treated in Bellator and the opportunities that I will get there. And but at that moment, after the fight, I don't know. I knew all the options were open, and I wanted to have the best deal for me, and that was it. At the end, Bellator was the better choice for me.
Was the Bellator offer the same as the UFC offer and you just had to pick where you wanted to fight, or was it much better than the UFC's offer?
Well, UFC was getting close to the Bellator offer at the end. But it's not just basically the money. Like I said, I've worked with Scott. When Scott promises you something, he delivers. He's an honest guy. He's a mixed martial artist himself before, so he treats fighters with respect, and that's one of the things that was also very important for me to go to Bellator. And what can I say? The money wasn't just the factor. I know. You have never heard some fighter talk bad about Scott Coker? Mention me one fighter that said Scott is a bad guy or he hasn't treated me well. I think all the fighters that now went from UFC to Bellator, they had a relationship with Scott, or they're looking forward to work with Scott and Bellator.
Throughout the past year, you have been very vocal about, the middleweight division in the UFC and Michael Bisping and not getting a title shot. By the end, were you feeling like you weren't respected, that you weren't feeling the love, that you hit a glass ceiling and for whatever reason you weren't going to get pushed to that title shot? Were you frustrated, and did that lead you to exploring the Bellator deal and ultimately signing with them?
Well, no, UFC has always treated me well, to be honest. Dana White has always talked good about me. I'm thankful to them. I'm at this point because they gave me the opportunities to where I am now. The thing is, with the middleweight division, listen, Whitaker won against Jacare, and he skipped 3 places in the rankings, and he went up and he fought for the interim title. I thought I was ahead of him. That's my opinion. I respect Whitaker a lot. He's a nice guy. Congratulations for winning the belt. But, I think if they would have come with the said, okay, you're fighting for the interim belt, things would have been more interesting to me. And, those things matter. Yeah, I don't know. Well, sometimes I felt like, okay, I should have been there already. Those things, I don't know.
Any part of you, as you said goodbye to the UFC and signed with Bellator, was there any part of you deep down said, I'm happy, but I'm a little bit sad that I never even got a chance to fight for the belt in the UFC? Do you feel like you will regret that one day, that you never even got that opportunity to be in a UFC title fight?
At the end of the day, belts are not that interesting. I think you can, I think if you're a seasoned fighter, you fought so many times, a belt is just a piece of plastic, let's say. At the end of the day, it depends who you fight. Let's say if I go to Bellator, if I even decide to go to heavyweight, I get a legend fight or I don't know, I fight big names, I think that's more important than having the belt. And, some part of me said, shit, I was so close to fight for the belt, because that was what I was working towards all those years in UFC. So, yeah, but the other hand, it's not just the fighter that's gonna listen. Yo Romero fought so many times, and eventually he fought for the belt. But maybe if he would have got his shot against Michael Bisping, he would have been champion. I'm just saying, it's also about what the matchmakers give you for a fight. It's at this moment, hey, do I deserve it to fight for the belt? I believe if I would fight Whitaker or Michael Bisping, they're both the middleweight champions now, I would be favorites. So there's no denying saying that, he wasn't worth what he was asking or whatever. Because I'm not saying that because I believe in myself I could beat them both. I would say that because I think the odd makers would make me also favorite in those 2 fights. So how can I be not what I'm asking, that I'm not worth that? So it's also about treatment and getting the opportunities. But on the other hand, like I said, UFC has treated me well. I got nothing bad to say about them.
There was a report, I believe, on Kimura.se earlier today that said that one of the lawyers in the UFC thought that you weren't worthy of a big contract. Is that accurate? Was that ever told to you?
Yeah, I read something like that. I don't know if that's true, if the UFC has said that. I'm not here to badmouth UFC. But like I said, I feel I would be favored in both the champions, middleweight champions now, if I would fight them. So I don't know if how that's what they're saying is correct.
I'm not just saying this because you're here. I said it before you came on, and I would say it even if you weren't here. You can make a very strong case that this is Bellator's best free agent signing because of the winning streak, because of your resume, because of how close you are to a UFC title. This is a huge coup for them. Do you think that this is the best signing in Bellator's history? Of all the free agent signings, is this number one?
Well, I don't know. Rory McDonald is there. Ryan Bader was on a good winning streak. They're all, those are top fighters that went from UFC to Bellator. Eventually, maybe a fight against Rory McDonald. That's in the possibilities. That's the same thing that UFC did. Michael Bisping versus GSP. But I think me against Rory McDonald would be much better because we're both in our primes. So it creates opportunities. I get something to say. I can say I want to go up a division up. There's there's super fights to be made. I could fight Wanderlei. I don't know, not because he's at his prime now, but because he has a big name. I could even fight heavyweight. I'm open to it. That's the good thing about Bellator. I can do things. I can ask for things. It's more open-minded. UFC is very strict about those things and giving opportunities. To me at least, I don't know. They give all the opportunities to, let's say, McGregor, but he deserves it. I'm not.
Right.
But I'm saying for me, it's more. Also, the opportunities are there now for me to do things, to get big fights that I want. Those things make me happy to go to Bellator.
Is it fair to say that you are making more money with this contract than you have in your entire career? Not combined, of course, but is this a more lucrative contract than any of the others that you've signed?
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy with the contract. Of course, I'm not going to say what I'm going to make. I'm an open guy. If people ask me, I'm usually very open. I would say it if it's my friends, but when I say things how much I make, it always gets me in trouble at the end. So, but all I can say, I'm happy what I'm getting. We see. Now is my time to perform and put good performances. I just, I do my best.
Did you talk to any other promotions, or was it just Bellator and the UFC?
Well, we talked to another 2 organizations. I think the Russian. There's opportunity to do boxing in Russia. Even that's a possibility. And another organization that was a big tournament. You could win up to eventually 2-3 million, but I don't believe that.
Huh.
There were. We were looking around for sure.
Do you know when you will debut for Bellator yet?
Not yet. It's gonna take a couple months probably. Middleweight championship or maybe another fight before to fight for whatever. I'm here to get that belt. That's my goal.
Have you been promised a title shot in your debut?
Well, no. That's open still.
I can't imagine anyone deserving it more than you.
I don't know. I think I go to Bellator. I'm here to fight. I'm a fighter. I believe I will be champion there. I believe I could have been champion in the UFC also.
Yeah.
So I'll take whoever they put in front of me just to prove it once more. But like I said, every time you have to prove it again, it's just another risk you're taking. You're gambling because it's a fight. You go into a cage with another guy, anything can happen. You lose, you're back in the row again. So yeah, I have to take another chance. But I'm very close.
The current Bellator middleweight champion is a man named Rafael Carvalho. In fact, he just texted a member of our team, Guilherme Cruz, saying that he would love to fight you sooner rather than later. How much do you know about the Brazilian Carvalho?
Well, I know he fought Melvin Manhoef.
Yep.
I don't know a lot much about him, but I look forward to fight him. I think he wants to prove something to the world. I'm a guy that's good for him to do that. And I know he fought Melvin twice. That's where I know him from. And listen, all I can say, if I come there, I'm coming to win it, and I'm coming to do it impressively. Well, why not? If they give me the opportunity, I will do it.
Is it fair to say you will debut for Bellator in 2017?
Yeah. I will fight this year, for sure.
Okay. Are you hoping to fight twice this year, or is that a little too much?
Well, I think it's too much. That's going to be a short time.
Okay.
Just once, and then I go from there.
Looking back, did you enjoy the process of being a free agent?
Well, I enjoyed my free time. I got to eat, rest, no pressures, nothing. Yeah, I enjoyed my free time. I'm usually a busy guy. Even when I didn't fight a lot, I was injured on my knee. I was rehab every day twice. So, yeah, it's good to have a long break. Negotiations. I knew what I was worth. If UFC didn't feel like I was worth that, I don't know. It's up to them. No, I didn't have any pressure. I was comfortable. No.
Are you in the end surprised it went down this way? Are you surprised that you're with Bellator and that the UFC didn't choose to match?
I'm not surprised. No. To be honest, my feeling was saying Bellator all the way from the beginning.
Wow.
Like I said, I have worked with Scott before. I know how I was treated. Like I said, I've been treated well also in UFC. I'm not saying I was treated bad, but just the opportunities, just working with Scott, and with Bellator, I can grow with the company. I will get opportunities. It's not just the money. It's money is also better. All those things combined. Why would a fighter choose to not go to Bellator, where you're
Right.
gonna get treated better? And I'm happy to go to Bellator. And my thing is, I want to grow with Bellator, so I will have to do my part to make Bellator bigger.
One of the best things to happen in the last year and a half was the evolution of your personality. Your interviews became must watch for fans, and we all wanted to talk to you. You were just we saw a different side of you. You were a lot more relaxed. You were funny, things like that. Now that you got paid and got what you want, does that mean that the Gegard of the last year and a half is going away? Are you back to the more reserved Gegard? I don't want to lose that funny Gegard. That guy was great, dropping the F-bombs.
No, I will be more open. But if I look at Whitaker, and I used to watch my late interviews when I was younger, I was talking like Whitaker, and I was like, okay, the Whitaker how he is now. I was when I was 20, 24, 25, and I was like, okay, now I understand. There's a big difference when I watch my previous interviews, and I'm just more open, vocal. I give my opinion. Women fights, I don't know. What can I say?
What? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I wanted to badmouth the women fights. No one wants to see that. Stuff like that. Usually I would say I would respect everybody and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, to be honest, who wants to see women fights? Nobody.
I love women's fighting. What are you talking about? Isn't your girlfriend a fighter?
No. Now, Semi, I don't know. I don't like it that she fights. But who you like to watch? Which fight do you enjoy lately?
Joanna Jędrzejczyk? Joanna, she's incredible.
Yeah, she's good. But you know who she's fighting?
Of course. She just
the
fought
women that she's fighting?
Jessica Andrade.
I don't know these women. Only the champions I know.
There's Valentina Shevchenko, who's coming up later. Amanda Nunes. Cris Cyborg fighting later on this month against Tanya Evinger.
Only fighter that's worth watching is Cris Cyborg. Only one.
We'll agree to disagree on that. How about that?
Yeah. Good.
This is great. And by the way,
good enough? I'm vocal enough?
Yes, maybe. That's not exactly what I was thinking, but fair enough. You can choose any path you want. Do you watch Bellator a lot? Like, how familiar are you with the product? Did you watch the show at MSG a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, of course. I always tune in to the big fights. And, I think now with Matchroom against Fedor Emelianenko, Vanderlei versus Chelson, those are big fights. Ryan Bader is now there. Phil Davis is there. Rory McDonald I watch. You have big names. People are going to tune in. And I'm here to do super fights. Rory McDonald, Vanderlei Silva, Chelson, and me in light heavyweight. Why not? It's going to be, I think, a lot of interesting fights to make. And I'm open to go up from middleweight to heavyweight.
Two last things for you, Gegard. And again, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. The first one is, if they said to you, okay, you could pick anyone on the roster, who do you want to fight first? What's the most appealing fight for you? Belt or no belt? Who do you pick?
I think Rory McDonald is a big name and Ryan Bader is a big name. One of those two guys and the champion, middleweight champion. But I would say middleweight belt and then fight Rory McDonald or fight Ryan Bader.
How much does the fact that the UFC have the Reebok deal and you can't get your own sponsors, how much did that weigh into your decision?
Listen, Reebok is just, hey, let's be honest. Reebok was there to sell the company. It was it was meant to help the fighters out. Reebok became UFC because they wanted to sell it for $4 billion. It's just simple as that, to make it more global, the sport, and just to sell it. It was terrible for the fighters. And listen, no one complains about Reebok, because if you complain, you're going to get, it's going to get messy. They may fire you, people cannot talk about it. They cannot say Reebok sucks. But we all know the truth. I don't know. They can't even make good pants or shorts. Well, what can I say? It's the same thing. I don't know. I was not happy with the Reebok deal. I think 99% of the fighters were not happy with the Reebok deal. And Reebok themselves are not happy. UFC is not happy with Reebok, but it is what it is.
And now you can get your own sponsors, right? So that has to be a plus for you.
100%. I think it's open market. What Rory McDonald did in his last fight, he had one big sponsor. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to have 10 sponsors on my shorts. I'd rather work with one good company that believes in me, like Ryan Bader. He had his old sponsors that start working with him. I want a relationship that's gonna last just than one fight. So yeah, I'm that's my manager's job.
Sure.
I have to fight. Yeah.
And how close do you think Bellator is to the UFC right now, getting all these fighters lately? Do you think that it's close?
Listen, Reebok is bad for UFC, and I don't know if the new owners realize what they're doing. This is not entertainment. It's different entertainment. It's not this fighting. I think with Fertitta, it was they made this sport, so it's a different attitude maybe. And like I said, Bellator is coming 100%. It's gonna get bigger. And like I said, you need competition. If you have Coca-Cola, you have Pepsi. If you have Burger King, you have McDonald's. I think it's good for the athletes that Bellator is here. And like I said, if big names come, and that's exactly what Bellator is doing, signing big names and making big fights. 100% they will be close in a couple of years.
Gegard, congratulations. Again, this is pretty big news in the world of MMA. I'd say it's one of the biggest free agent signings in the history of the sport. Very happy for you. I'm happy that you're happy, that you got the deal that you wanted, that you feel respected, that you're content with the way everything went down as far as free agency is concerned. And most importantly, thank you for coming on your favorite show and breaking the news to the world. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ariel. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Gegard.
Bye.
There he is, Gegard Mousasi, the newest member of the Bellator MMA roster.